All right, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, we are going to ask for your undivided attention. You're going to love this part. There we go, Mama B. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what this here is a roundtable discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can please get your undivided attention. Quiet on set, quiet on set. Quiet on set. Lock it up, lock it up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate your energy. What we're doing here is a roundtable discussion. We have 5 very dope filmmakers, producers that are going to be sharing with you about their journey, how they came up in the game, who they are, and what inspires them creatively. We are going to be filming this live, so we do ask you to be a very patient and understanding audience, but also do feel free to give some reaction if you hear something that does move you. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Georgia Hollywood Review Roundtable Discussion. And I am your host, Angelo Diaz. No. All right, so our 5 hosts, I would like for you all to introduce yourselves. We'll let the ladies go first. Introduce yourselves, introduce a few notable achievements, and who you are and what you're contributing to the Georgia filmmaking industry. Francis, if you'd like to go first.
Hi, my name is Francis Chang. I am actually a hobbyist in filmmaking. I am a writer, producer, accidental director. Most recently, 3 of my comedy sketches were in the Portland Film Festival over this summer.
Congrats, Francis. Hey guys, I'm Alahna Lark. I'm a writer. I like to call myself a preserver of history because I work very often in the documentary space. Specifically, I like to bring attention to the experiences of people of color. As you can tell, I am a person of color. And I guess my most notable achievement recently is that my short film, Made in America, is Emmy nominated. Oh.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby Ray Hollywood Huntley II. I love y'all too. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just a filmmaker here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been filmmaking since the age of 10 years old. It's a passion of mine. I just love everything independent filmmaking, just getting a group of your friends and family together and just creating something. I guess one of my most recent notable things that I've done is, this is tough. Okay, TNC, I was able to go to Cannes, however you guys want to pronounce that this year. So, and we also just got it, as of coming here today, I got an email, we just got a TV deal with Revolt TV. So, God is good, amen. So I'm very excited and, you know, keep doing projects and keep going. So, happy to be here. Thank you.
Nice. Who'd like to go next? All right, brother.
All right, Chris.
I'm Chris LeDoux. I got in on Bitcoin at $100, so kind of bought my way in. No, I got a VFX company. I've been doing that for years. I directed music videos. I got a show on directing on the CW, and you know, hopefully some stuff here in Georgia soon, if some stage space opens up, which it won't. So probably going back to Bulgaria. But no, all I wanted to do is tell stories, and I think there's a lot of cool new ways to explore visual media. And one of the reasons I got into visual effects was to work around people that I felt I could learn from and observe from the best. And early in my career, I did Pan's Labyrinth, which was really cool to see a director of that caliber. And you know, we've gone ever since. You know, I did Hidden Figures, La La Land, and you know, to be able to be around that kind of talent is you know, it keeps you humble and it keeps you learning and guessing. And so that's what I appreciate about what we all do is, as a visual medium, is I think there's new room to explore, and it changes every day. You know, and technology finds new ways to connect to our psyche. And with that, I think, you know, things evolve. And so that's what I think is exciting is, you know, if the point of art is to connect your experience to other people, then the visual medium is one of the best ways to do that. And it's just ever expanding. So I feel, what do you guys say here? Blessed? Something like, yeah, blessed. Like it's like So yeah, I'm a lucky fucker, I guess I would say. But, yeah.
All right, Anthony Page. I'm a director, producer, writer. My primary goal is to kind of direct, produce, and write my own projects. I'm not really interested in kind of getting plugged into the big system. I'm kind of on my own lane, doing my own thing. I'm enjoying it, building my own table. My current film is called Remembering Mama. We just got nominated for a HAPA Award. Yeah, and just got back from Los Angeles. It was a great experience and being recognized for your work. So it's working. So far, so good. It's been a journey, though, I'll tell you that.
Nice. All right, let's get into it. So you guys are accomplished, esteemed directors, filmmakers, producers, writers. What is it like being a content creator, a filmmaker in the Georgia film industry right now? Whoever would like to begin and take that question.
So I always like to call myself Alahna because I'm so Atlanta and my name's Alahna. But there's so much beautiful Black culture in this city. And I come from it. My grandparents both went to college right up the street from here, AUCs, you know what I mean? So, what? So, to see the way that there are waves happening, like my best friend, she's right over there, she just moved here from LA to make her film. Like, that's how relevant we are, you know what I mean? Because the community that we've built is so much set on not just like how much money can we make. Okay, we all trying to make money, right? However, it's like this drive to create together, to network. I've met a lot of you guys today, and the egos are a little bit lower, and where it's like, okay, if I resonate with your story, how can I be part of telling this vision, and how can we bring it to life and allow other audiences to experience it?
Definitely community is the operative word here. I've traveled all over the country, frankly all over the world, and there's, in my humble opinion, no better community than the Atlanta film community. We really take the Southern hospitality meaning and feeling to heart. We take care of each other, look out for each other, feed each other, and do the best that we can. I've experienced that personally myself. I know everybody's experience is different, but I've seen some of the best people come up and grow within their craft, within their relationships with each other, and networking across, which is extremely important to climb the ladder. You definitely have to network across. And I think, you know, being a filmmaker, independent filmmaker at this time in this space, with the technology that we have available to us, with the audience through social medias that we have available to us, it is no better time to be a filmmaker and no better space. So I'm very excited about it.
Very beautiful. Go ahead.
While everybody is out doing their thing and hustling, I feel like Atlanta has true love for filmmaking. In the community, like everybody will, pick up and help. You put out a call for, you need this, you need a grip, you need that. Somebody will come and help or connect you with somebody, and everybody, there's always someone that knows somebody and that will help you out, and I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could I get another vampire bite? No, I think what's cool about Atlanta is there's this weird mentality. I don't know, this probably harkens back to caveman days anthropologically, but there's this idea that someone else's success takes away from yours. As if there's like a limited bucket of success, like Zelda hearts, and if you take away my Link heart, then it goes, and so what you realize is, well, because I'm old as shit now, but you realize you get older, is like, it's not about counting biscuits. I'm not, just because I take one, you have one less. It's that by helping each other out and creating what's another word, fellowship, that it actually adds together and multiplies, which I think is really interesting, is that, it's, I think someone much brighter than I am had an analogy where it's like if a candle lights another candle, you have two lit candles. One candle didn't lose. And that's what the Atlanta film community is like, is all these people helping each other out, not to necessarily buy like a, what's that crappy car they drive here, a Dodge Charger? Like, not to buy a Charger, but to actually, if you really love film, you're trying to communicate an idea to other human beings about your existence. And do you feel the way I do? And it's not about a pursuit of material goods or anything like that, or glory or anything like that. It's that we can actually hold each other up, and together we can create a higher sense of enlightenment and actually move forward, not just mentally and physically, but perhaps spiritually as well. And that there's something intrinsically valuable by the experience of doing this all together. Wow. Like a foxhole bonding.
Okay, that's an answer right
I like that. That's beautiful.
I guess for me it would be a little bit more philosophical. I think Atlanta is courage, you know, the balls, the audacity to do certain things. You know, there's the axiom out there that says Atlanta influences everything, and I think it's a testament to the people and their confidence and their willingness to fail, their willingness to experiment, their willingness to explore. And we saw that in music with Outkast, and I think, you know, and so many other, the whole Dungeon family. And I think you're seeing that in music, that experimentation, and I think Atlanta's on the brink of its own brand of storytelling, its own unique aesthetic that is Southern, that is international, that has an Atlanta swag, a kind of bohemian sophistication to it, you know, a social verve to it. So I think that's what Atlanta gives me. It gives me a lot of inspiration. And, you know, more than anything else, I think it's a possibility. I'm from South Carolina, and it's so hard to get any activity moving in the arts. And you come to an Atlanta, and it's exploding with art. So, you know, you just see it all around. That creativity just inspires you. And I think being in that pool of creatives just kind of moves you. It's like, ooh, you know, I see what Bobby's doing. I see what Alana's doing. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, all right, they put up some points. It's my turn. Give me the ball. So that's what it does for me.
Exactly. That inspiration is contagious. Let's talk a little bit more about inspiration and what kind of stories inspire y'all. What kind of stories are you inspired to tell or share? Let's begin with you, Francis.
My inspiration is kind of random. It's just from life experiences, observations. Even though I write mostly comedy, a lot of my pieces have a little bit of social commentary in them, and they just kind of happen organically. So it's like a twist on injustice, or that type of thing, and it's just paying attention, and then your muse comes to you.
It's being connected.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Well, Chris, you made a beautiful analogy about the candles and one fire lighting another fire. So if y'all don't mind, if a few of you can share testimonies as to who, or if there's a particular person, whether it's a mentor or a family member, or what helped light your fire during a critical process or critical moment in your process. Whoever would like to begin.
I don't want to.
How dare you ask the hard questions?
Yeah, I think for me it was thousands of people, man. I was that little kid in the backyard with my Hot Wheels cars, my Star Wars men, and nice. G.I. Joe soldiers, building worlds with dirt and sticks.
Nice.
That was my beginning of a journey as a director. I didn't know that. When I first came into this business, I was an actor. I was like, I want to act because that's what I saw. And then a mentor of mine, he said, you're a director. I'm like, no, I want to act. The first time I directed something I knew, I'm like, yeah. I worked really hard to maybe be an okay actor, but directing just came like, but I'm a loner, awkward, living in my head type of kid who had these conversations with himself and played all these characters. You'd be surprised at what's going on in my mind right now. It's like 5 people speaking. So I could see things and I could feel things and I can translate that into my work. That's all I got to say right now.
Nice.
Well, when you're the creator, you get to build the world.
Yeah,
so that's,
absolutely.
That's the best part, yeah.
And that's a fun part for me.
I think the first person who comes to mind when it comes to like who inspires my stories is my friend Joe, who was a main story in my first feature film, Sweet Auburn Blues, which highlighted a very significant historic neighborhood in Atlanta that, if you haven't really learned about Auburn Avenue at all, like, please, I know we're not just trying to plug our films, but, watch the film Sweet Auburn Blues. I'll tell you where to find it later. I had this whole idea of how this film would look. We wanted to talk about how gentrification was so bad, and I had all these ideas around it, right? And then I start interviewing people, and they're like, no, we don't mind. Like, actually, we want diversity in our community. We want financial diversity in our community. We want people to come here. Just don't, like, push us out. basically, is what they were saying. And, you know, at one point we were lugging in all this expensive equipment past people who are members of the homeless community. And we're like, what does it say if we don't put a lens to their experience? You're literally on this street day and night, you know, hot or cold, in the elements. And, you know, I made friends with Joe, and I would go to his corner and just sit with him on the street and watch him make a little bit of money directing traffic as to where to park to make some dollars, to eat, to have enough money to put socks on his feet, for example. And I'm inspired by him because, I'm not gonna lie, like, I came from a very privileged home in many ways. Like, my mother was a single mother, and she worked really hard to get us where we were, but his circumstances were something I couldn't relate to. But the stories you want to tell are the stories that you know that no one is listening, and you know that they deserve to be heard. So he inspires me every day, and he passed away this year. Rest in peace, Joe. He inspires me every day to say, what are the stories that I don't even know need to be told? How do I get out of my box and get to know people and build relationships where I can authentically say, this person's story matters?
Bobby, speak to us about some of what inspires you within your storytelling. I see a lot of the films that you make are from a perspective of, like with the Charlie story, as far as a woman who is seeking counsel from her sister who's passed away. Even with your take on your recent horror film, a lot of your things are from the perspective or honoring the growth process of women of color. So can you speak to us about what's inspired you personally to share those kind of stories?
Well, it's just always been a part of my life. You know, the women in my life, my mother, my aunts, my sister, they've just always been a strong presence with strong stories, strong thoughts, strong opinions and feelings. It just made sense for me to reflect that in my stories because that's what I was surrounded by. And also with that, being surrounded by strong women in my film school, you know, seeing them say, I want to do this, I want to do that, it only made sense to help facilitate that and make room and make space for that to happen. So it was just a natural, organic, you know, thing for me. I didn't even realize that it was a big deal. Like, oh, pretty much half of my college career, I had a woman cinematographer. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't think about these things. So it just became second nature for me. And then when I stepped out into, I guess you would say, the real world in the industry, and you saw that how rare that is, that became weird for me. You know, and I just love giving people opportunities, even though I'm fighting for opportunities myself, always making space and making room for people so that they can grow within themselves, because I'm very big on passing it on. No matter who it is, what you are, where you're from, pass it on, because that's pretty much how you reap your blessings. So, yeah, women got stories to tell, and, you know, let's help get the stories out there.
Exactly, exactly. I think as artists, it's Harry Belafonte, I've heard him say, I don't know if it's, he created a quote, I feel like it's a quote as old as time, but artists are the gatekeepers of truth. And with women of color, they do have specific truth, we all do. And so as artists, we have an obligation to tap into those truths. So let's speak a little bit about your upbringing within your craft, because with there being several prominent schools here, film schools, between SCAD and Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Hey, okay, you got some representation in the house. Now, so I'd like to begin with you then. How do you feel as far as, with Atlanta becoming a burgeoning film market, is a burgeoning film market, you have a lot of people who wake up one day, hit a lick, and they buy a camera. And they're able to teach themselves a good bit, or they're able to learn a good bit from friends or family. So what are some of the pros and cons of that avenue versus going through a school-taught, rigorous academic background?
Having the training of school, and this is not an insult, it puts you on a whole nother level. It puts you on a different yellow brick road. It's clear. There are things that you learn in a film studies program or in a film program that you're just, most people are not going to seek. You know, very few people are going to seek that. I was in Georgia State from 97 to 2002. We still work with film. We had reversal and negative. We had to send it to Boston to process and print. We used a moviola. You know, that was our, you know, the DSLR revolution didn't start until after we left, and we were behind that curve. Now Georgia State's on a whole nother level, but, you know, I stayed plugged into it. The German Heimat films, the Italian, you know, the French New Wave, the Italian, you know, spaghetti westerns, all of these genres, these aesthetics that we studied influenced me, you know, and it shows up in my work and it shows up in how I see things. And you can see that level of sophistication. You can see it with somebody who has a little bit of training, you know, to understand lines, understand colors. There's just so many things. Some people just have a natural knack. I mean, because those, you know, first, before film schools were around, you got people making great films. But I just think it does give you a little bit of an advantage, but not always. Not always. I mean, I think you get good at anything, you just do it over and over again. You have a pure passion and you just keep moving forward with it.
Right.
And if something strong is driving you, it will endure. I've given up a lot to have this career, a lot. You know, a lot of gray hairs, a lot of money, because I have degrees in finance and accounting, and I could be making a lot more money doing that, but I'm like, this is my life. This is the choice that I'm making. That's how important it is to me.
Nice, beautiful. Francis, let's talk about an experience like yours, because you went from, in your bio, you say how you go from puppetry to improv to stage life. So talk about your experiences and how that kind of formed an education and made you the director and filmmaker that you are today. You want to share mine?
I think I got it, yeah.
There we go.
My journey is a very, very strange path.
Everybody's.
You know, I did the safe thing. I went to school for business. I took a typewriter to school. That's how old I am. So there's no internet. And so got a job in graphic design, which was crazy. My parents had no idea what I was doing. Like they never understood what I did. And then during the recession, lost that job, decided to just not be bored while I was looking, and took an internship at the Center for Puppetry Arts in their marketing department as a full-grown adult. And they were like, sure, why not? And that's how I got into puppetry, and that led me to pro wrestling and the Universal Circus, and then improv, sketch writing, and then that's what got me into film.
Wow.
I'm sorry, what?
Right.
Yeah. No, well,
the people want to know more about the pro
indie
wrestling.
pro wrestling. So at Atlanta Pro Wrestling. So like what you see on Heels, that type of stuff. So yeah, we were Platinum Championship Wrestling. I was Dr. Melee.
Dr. Melee?
Dr. Melee.
Oh, you were kicking some ass.
I took a lot of hits. The injuries are real.
Word.
So after being hurt, I decided to take just a more sedentary creative route and writing, and then that turned into content producing and becoming a filmmaker. My friends are like run the gambit in the creative world, so like I was helping out on film sets before I became a filmmaker, and then when my turn came, they're like, yeah, we'll help you out, and then so now I've got a lot of people that we work together and we make stuff that I do it for the love. I know I'm not going to make money off of it or out of it, and so I truly am a filmmaker out of love.
Chris, talk to us about visual effects. How does one educate themselves? How does one get educated on that? And did you go a typical route, or how did you fall in love with visual effects? And when was the moment that you kind of realized, this is for me and I want to know more about it?
Well, hold on. We did Heels. That shit was badass.
I love wrestling. I love wrestling, so and I love Stephen Amell. Bring him to me.
Are you more of a Shawn Michaels guy or Mankind? Fight Macho Man or Hulk? Don't say Hulk.
No. More Sting.
Sting, NWO.
Cleveland Browns of wrestling. Visual effects. Visual effects, it's all problem solving. It's fun when you work with filmmakers and you're trying to help them solve a problem. It's logistical. And I'm sure this will be an unpopular opinion, but the DSLR revolution did not lead to any more good films. it just led to a lot more shit in this thing called YouTube. And it didn't. People, because you don't make a film with a camera, you make a film with a story. Like, if you really have a talent, the camera doesn't make you I remember when I started off as a photographer, and, but my path here, no, my path is through anthropology, actually. But a camera doesn't make a good photographer. I mean, if you want to insult a photographer and they take an amazing picture, say, hey, what camera do you use to take such amazing pictures? Be like, hey, what pen do you use to write such amazing stories? He's like, no, the condom doesn't make the orgasm. That's the best analogy I can come up with.
That's a very poetic way to put that.
It's the tongue, gentlemen.
Stand-up guy, right?
Me and the lesbians are like this. No, but you don't. I was inspired for problem solving. I mean, I'm on shows all the time where it's like they're like, how do I tell this story? I don't have the money, and I'm like, okay, let's dial it all back. Let's take a wide angle. What are you trying to communicate? And I'm trying to, my favorite example is Hidden Figures. When we shot Hidden Figures, our budget was terrible. And then all of a sudden they got the first cut and they went to the preview at Fox and they were like, oh shit, we have a good movie. And like, what do we do? And they were like, the director calls me and says, Chris, what do I do? And I said, oh, we need to expand the scope of it. Because we had like Cape Canaveral actually at OFS, which, John Glenn doesn't look so impressive when there's like a BK Burger King Whopper 99 cents behind him. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think in the 60s it was probably less, but and that'll be quick. But I called up Cape Canaveral and I said, hey, I got a couple red cameras. Can I roll down to Cape Canaveral and get footage of where John Glenn actually walked and all the world? And can I then roto out all this stuff and place it in that environment and expand the scope? Can I do a bunch of CG of Sputnik and da-da-da-da-da? And because the movie had scored so high, Fox was like, they ran their little equation. And they were like, oh, you can spend this much money. I'm like, great. And I went out and just did it. The director having very little input. I came back and I said, here's a bunch of shots to tell your story. And let's say it is rare for this guy named Ted, who directed on this level, to be so appreciative. But that's all it is. It's just like MacGyver. It's problem solving. If she comes to me and says, hey, I was doing stop motion with a puppet, it didn't work, and I'm like, I told her so. And I go, look, I can figure it out with CG and wire paint out, and like 500 kids in India. She goes, great. And it's I love the problem solving of it. If you have a story you're trying to tell, like you're like, okay, our most common one is, okay, we're filming in Atlanta, but it needs to look like New York in the 70s. It needs to look like, I'm like, it already does look like New York in the 70s. And they're like, no, LA. I'm like, okay, that's different. And I can solve those problems. And that's what's fun, is meeting all these different filmmakers from all these different walks of life who have different stories to tell, who come and say, hey, I have this thing that's really important. The real auteur directors, which I could tell she's one of them, who are like, no, the label on the magazine in the background that's out of focus is the most important goddamn thing.
How can you tell that about her?
I can just tell. And anthropology. But when you were talking about, bringing your stories to life, like, we can elevate that, so, because it is out of all the art forms, filmmaking is the one craft where you need a group. Photography, painting, all these art forms, you can go do it yourself. Film, you have to convince a lot of friends for a very long amount of time that being paid and copying credit's a great idea. And the kind of friends you can convince of that are probably so stupid they can't help you. And so your smart friends are like, and so that's what's nice about Atlanta, going back to what you were saying before, is you can actually get real knowledgeable people that went to film school and did things, although film school's overrated. I just hate those USC kids. And you can get them to help you out. Which is why I love, real film lovers will play any position. They're like a flanker in football. Like, no, they want me to be DP, PA? I mean, what position? I mean, I tried to first AD one time, but I smoke a lot, and I'm like, wait, what are we doing? And that's what's beautiful about it. Is like, I love the problem solving of not just visual effects, it's just filmmaking as a whole. Yeah. Because you were gonna get screwed. Like, the actress didn't show up, well, we need her right now. Right. Turns out the cheetah offered her more money tonight. Oh, shit.
The cheetah.
Can we go to the Tattletale and get some of that? Because that's cheaper. No, but I mean, like, that's the beauty of it, is how do you solve a problem? It will never end up where it starts out.
Right.
And that's the beauty.
If y'all don't learn anything from this panel, learn that in Georgia you're going to get the knowledgeable people who will contribute to your film no matter what.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Ask a lot of favors.
Nice.
I love that, Kurt.
So let's talk more about problem solving, because making a film is Murphy's Law in abundance. Things are going to go wrong. So let's start with you, Bobby. What would you say your most trying moment in your film career has been?
Wow, me first. Okay, great. This is a treat.
Well, for me, it's just really just been managing. There's a lot of psychology that has to happen. A lot of massaging of egos and massaging of expectations. Like, we're gonna get together and make this next best great thing, but with nothing. And it could go either way, but we still gotta attack it with the same vigor, you know, like we got $50 million, you know. So sometimes personalities don't really work, which is why I always advocate for extensive rehearsals, okay? So have at least 5 rehearsals with your actors to make sure that they can come on time. So they're not, you know, too demanding or require this or that to do, you know, what they were asked to do. And you know, because it's all about, you have to genuinely at least like on some level the people that you work with and know that they can come on time and not waste time or money or resources, because it's really rare out here. But you know, just some personality things, some people things that, you know, happen, but that's what communication is important. Take a moment, everybody, let's take 5. Let's step outside and just have a conversation, because we all came here with a goal. If it's not this project specifically, we want to create something to add to our reel to take us to the next step and the next level. It's not really gonna help us to bail out on, you know, not only ourselves, our crew, our people, our supporters that, you know, brought us to this point. So I just had to learn that having honest, open, and humble communication with everybody on set can change things and lift mountains and, you know, ease the tensions and all those things that are due to happen, because creative people are very interesting emotionally and psychologically. So definitely learn and read up on psychology and all these things, because you're constantly managing all of that on top of trying to get a great shot and get the boom out the way. Yeah.
Exactly. So you end up learning a lot about leadership and service, and leaders eating last. What can you share with us, Mr. Page, of some more things you've learned about leadership through filmmaking?
Check. Okay, I think he said it all. Yeah. He was absolutely right. You're making a movie, you're underfunded, you're understaffed. You know, and you need a high level of expertise to compete, because you can have a great script, but your DP sucks, or your sound sucks, dead in the water, right? Your editing sucks, dead in the water. No art direction, nothing on the wall. You got white walls in some apartment, dead in the water. You see what I mean? Like you said, you need so many levels of people, and the people who are really good, they're like, what's your budget? You're like, and there you go. Because Hollywood is calling and there's so much work. So for me, necessity became my mother of invention. I started learning everything. That's why it's taken me so long to get stuff done, because I got tired of one person hijacking my project, because they knew how important they was in this moment, and they were like, oh, and the ego swell. And I'm doing you a favor, and
definitely the DP.
Yeah, among others, all of that stuff starts to happen, you know. But it's okay. You know, you learn. You hit the brick wall 1,000 miles an hour, 1,000 times. You learn and you move on. But eventually you'll get it done. But for me at this stage, it's hard to stop my project. I can do everything from concept to completion. All right, see you later. I got cameras at home. I can edit. I can do my graphics. Let's go. You want me to run this line? But it took me a while, because I've had so many failures, so many incomplete projects. It's ridiculous. But jumping on what he said, one of the most important things that I've learned is value. You got to understand that people that you work with have different priorities. You know, everybody doesn't think alike. Everybody doesn't want the same thing. So you have to take some time to learn them, because you can say one thing, but 10 people will hear it 11 different ways. Facts. So I have to learn how to speak to and understand my dialogue with my DP, and then this actor, and then this person and this person. So with one command or one objective, I got to speak 11 different languages, you know,
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
And you learn it. You learn to finesse it, and you kind of get to the point where you have like a small core group that you work well together, and you just kind of move forward with that, and it grows organically.
Right.
But not without a lot of failure.
Amen. Amen. Or lessons, because hopefully failures turn into lessons if you learn from them. So with so much of the directing and filmmaking process being taking L's, taking failures and turning them into lessons, let's flip the script. Let's talk about high notes. Let's talk about what some of maybe the highest notes of your career may be, or transformative moments of victory that kind of reassured you of like, okay, I'm on the right path. Let me take a deep breath. I ain't crazy, despite what my people think about me, or you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. Alahna, let's start with you. Do you have any key moments of victory that kind of help push you along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. They turn off automatically. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Thank you, Chris. Hello. Yeah, I guess my high moments are always, you know, they always say you can tell the filmmaker by who's the person in the back of the room looking at everybody's faces and not the film. So anytime I screen a film, I just like sit in the corner and I want to just feel the audience. Like, how are you guys reacting to it? Because it's always different from how you anticipate or even how you feel. It's like so close to home, right? My favorite time was, I guess, with the film Made in America. And my mom is a very tough critic, and she's my everything. She's why I do what I do. And I just saw her like wiping her tears. And this is a tough woman. She's been through war, you know what I mean? Quite literally. And she's wiping her tear. I was like, I got a tear from my mama, y'all. Like, what? Okay, I made it.
That's what's up.
And I look back to that time, I look back to that moment every time that I'm ready to start another project. I'm like, will my mama like this? If not, maybe this isn't the one. But, you know, she's a producer herself. Like, for the past over 20 years, she's been producing for CNN. And I remember she begged me, please don't go to college for journalism. You'll never get a day off. And I'm like, the way that we rewrite history is wild, because I be taking Monday and Friday off. Because at the end of the day, when you're an artist, like, you create your own schedule, you create your own lane, and I've been so blessed to be able to do that. So I work Tuesday through Thursday on my films with my production company, working for different clients and everything, and it's always tailored towards what kind of changes do we want to make in the world, you know what I mean? Like, my clients are all organizations and companies that care about changing the state of our existence. Like, no lie, climate change, like, what are we gonna do about it? I'm like, I don't know, but let me put a lens to it. But yeah, I guess I'm going off on a tangent, but I do it for my mama.
I hear that. I hear that.
Don't we all?
Exactly. Talk to us, Francis, about some moments of victory that help push you along your journey.
Okay, it's on. So, like I said, I'm a filmmaker out of love and kind of as an accident. I was making comedy films for myself and for the theaters that I was affiliated with, and then somebody randomly sent me a code for the Atlanta Film Festival, and so I submitted something. I got in, and then thank you. And then I was like, oh, this is a thing. So I made more films, submitted them to more film festivals, and they got in. So that was very affirming. And the last thing that I filmed live kind of revolved around mental health, and I keep getting comments about it. It's like how, and it's like a micro short. It's like 2 minutes and change, and people keep telling me like how it touched them and how it spoke to them, and it feels good to be able to tell a story that means something to you, and then have other people relate to it.
Yes.
And on that subject matter, mental health is such a huge, huge subject matter in the mass consciousness. We're becoming more awake to issues of mental health and how we can push that along. Talk to us well, each individually, but let's start with you, Mr. Page. What are some subjects on your heart that you can't wait to tackle through your storytelling, or is there anything that you look forward to?
Yeah, well, I think that's huge because, you know, I'm a 70s baby. Growing up, there were very narrow iconography of black people. You know, they had the video queen, you had the thug, you had the sidekick, you know. So it's hard for you to see yourself, especially if you're a kid like me who's very awkward. And, you know, it's like, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And I think you need that kind of reflection of yourself. So now I see where we've grown to, and you see a diversity of stories, you know, from what Ryan Coogler's doing, and Ava DuVernay, and then Jordan Peele. You know, we're just as complex as anybody, but for a long time, the complexity of who we are as black people weren't really reflected. So that's a powerful thing, because, you know, we're the lazy man under the tree eating watermelon. Not really, but that's what you see again and again and again. You start to believe it. You know what I mean? So now you get to see the full scale and scope of our humanity, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's going to have a profound effect on mental health, because everybody is not going to be this or that, you know, and it's okay to be whoever and whatever you are. And I think more those films that are out there now reflecting more the diversity of the world, not just with black people, but more the because I'm watching Reservation Dogs on Netflix, and it's brilliant.
So this is my director right now. Right? I'm producing his film, and you talked about mental health, so I'm just gonna say this was a good moment to plug his new film. You don't have to plug. Remembering Mama is a film about mental health. Anthony, would you care to share more?
I was getting to that, yeah. But it's really about dementia. A woman who had a very vivacious life, and then we see her deteriorate, and then everything that was significant in her life just kind of evaporates, and we see the toll it takes on her family. That's Remembering Mama. And it's resonating, you know. Strangers I've kind of let see a rough cut of it, you know, were responding to it without knowing. I said, hey, check this out. As if I wasn't the filmmaker, and people were responding to it. So that was a good kind of focus group for me. But you know, people have cried, and people are like, oh yeah, my grandmother such and such. So there's a connection there. And that's powerful. For me, almost pretty much a one-man operation, being able to have that kind of impact, you know, on somebody or on the public. But I think, yeah, image is important. Identity is important. Being able to see yourself, whoever you are, is important. And I think film gives us a great opportunity to do that, because we create perceptions that can translate and go all over the world. Remembering Mama .movie on Instagram.
There it is. Remembering Mama .movie on Instagram. Bobby, I want to ask you the same question, because you've gone from tackling coming of age story from a woman's perspective to a pandemic and the effects that has on the mental and emotional psyche with your Corona Man project. Where do you see yourself going next, and what issues do you want to tackle within your next storytelling?
Come on, man.
He's asking you the right questions, bro.
Golly. Okay. Since we're plugging things. All right, so my next feature-length film, which will be released very soon, it's actually a feature doc, as I was explaining to you a little earlier. 10 years ago, right out of film school, I made my first feature-length film. Film school, yeah. Called...
what film school, do you mind if we ask?
I'm not gonna say.
Oh, good talk.
They don't
good talk.
exist anymore. No,
Good talk.
American Intercontinental University, sorry. But
I went to community college too.
oh yes, community indeed. But I tell people artists too, because they're right next to each other. Anyway, so the film is called Herbert and Cleophas and the Unfortunate Chronicles of the Kidnapping of Miss Ella Finn.
Okay.
Hey, that's how I live my life. So, but you know, when I'll explain it to people, they're like, what was that again? So you got to talk about your movie again. So, you know, marketing. But it was a 1940 screwball comedy. We had the hair, clothes, cars, clubs, locations, everything, with absolutely no budget. God is good. We did a whole entire movie. Took us 2 years.
Wow. Clap for that.
Oh yeah, amen. Did the whole movie. Took us 2 years. People, I had people calling off from work and, you know, all this stuff like, hey, you know, I need you on set. No excuses. Come on my set. We did it. The movie's completed in the can, and I never put it out for a whole variety of reasons. You know, you get in your head, anxiety. It's not perfect enough. I can't compete with the big movies. Yada 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 yada. So much fallout from this. I developed a huge anxiety kind of disorder thing from this. You know, you feel like you can't complete anything, that you're not worth anything. Because as a filmmaker and you're asking people to work for free, all you have is your word. And if you can't deliver, you might as well crawl under a rock. I had,
Amen.
Right, so everything associated with this film, I had my lead actress getting cancer. My other lead actress said she witnessed a death, so she had to disappear. I had to disappear. So many things. And last year and this year, I got all my cast and crew together for the first time in practically 10 years. And we sat down and talked about everything, even down to one of my actors coming to me and letting me know that he wanted to actually find me and fight me for the fact that he worked so hard on this film and it never came out. So what I want to do with this film is practically like a masterclass in being able to intercut scenes from the actual movie in the film, just to give the actors and everyone their moment to shine, because they haven't had that. And there's just been such a heavy weight in my heart and in my life. You know what I'm saying? And we go into all of that. Even my best friend who was struggling with his sexuality at that time, and us finally talking about that and coming to terms with a lot of different things. So that's something I'm very interested in. And as us as creatives, artists, filmmakers, or whatever, there's a lot of things that we have to deal with. And part of the reason why I feel like we had to do that, because we had to feel a little bit extra to make our work resonate with people on a deeper level. So I don't know what the title of the documentary is going to be, because the movie title itself is hella long. But you know, so I really want to use that to open, you know, the conversation of mental health and just working with people. And if you have a problem, talk about it. Like, you know, we all have goals and things that we want to do, but just being open and honest, and even just a little conversation could go a long way. So that's something that's very big for me, and I can't wait for the people to see it and, you know, and talk about it. And shout out to Chad Connolly, the best music producer in the world, who does my scoring for my films over there in the corner. So if you need music done for your films, holla at him. He should be over there somewhere. He was just here. I did what I was supposed to do, Chad. I said your name. Awesome, bye.
All right, on that note, I want you guys to introduce either your website, your social media platforms, where they can find more about you and what you have going on and the projects you have coming up.
Lark Media.
Uh-oh. Lark Media is in the house.
That's my boyfriend being embarrassing.
Nice. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, so my company's called Lark Media. So go to larkmedia.co if you need any videos done. We do content creation, but you have to be like a socially conscious company organization. We don't work for people who aren't. But other than that, alahnalark.com. I do producing on my own as well.
Nice.
Thank you guys for having me here. This has been a beautiful discussion. I don't know about you guys, but I learned a lot from everyone at this table. So thank you so much.
Ditto. Go ahead, Mr. Page.
Okay, so my company is Blue Bistro Creative. Blue like the color, bistro like a corner bistro, and creative. All social media, if you Google it, it'll come up in my name, anthony.r.page, and that's P-A-G-E on all social media, it'll come up. And the current project right now is Remembering Mama.movie, and that's on IG. Next up, it's an adaptation from a book called Men in My Bed. Actually, we're shooting the last scenes this weekend, this Saturday, and that one being the wrap and go into post. So just one after the other.
Congrats, man. Congrats. Yeah. That's major. All right, Bobby, talk to him.
What are we supposed to say now?
Where they can find more of your projects, either website, social media.
Bam, okay. B. Huntley Films, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here in these streets, so I love to meet people, talk to people, work with people, collaborate with people. And also, I'm so honored to be featured in this magazine on page 20. So, our first magazine article. So,
there it is.
I'm so excited. Thank y'all so much. I'm taking this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I took so many of these from what's the theater? Eric, what's the theater? The Plaza. I took so many of these from the Plaza. I sent it to everybody, all my supporters all around the country. So thanks again so much. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's my producer over there, Eric Ray Vaughn. We're developing a lot of projects and stuff. So, you know, talk to him. He'll plug you in. And B. Huntley Films and BobbyHuntleyFilms.com to see my work and all that stuff. So I love to collaborate and meet everybody. So thank you all so much.
Nice. Francis, talk to him.
The imposter syndrome is real up in here. I don't have my own company, but my website is MediaTigre, Tigre, like the fancy theater.com. That's also the name of my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Melee on Twitter and Instagram.
Still to this day.
But
I like it.
Twitter, I just complain about things, and Instagram's just filled with my hiking photos. So until we film again, then we'll have more stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. Talk to him, champ.
I'm on a website called OnlyFans /
Stop it. Stop it right now. What's your OnlyFans name?
No, there's another / called I helped her direct 2 Girls, 1 Cup, and give me 30 seconds. I want to say that when you're talking about people that are inspiring, what was inspiring to me was when I had a mentor, and then I mentored someone. And 6 months ago, they finally told me to fuck off. And that was actually an inspiring moment. And it was serendipitous because at the same time, someone else came into my life who I met on set, who came out of the most miserable department ever, set deck. And when this person told me to fuck off, it wasn't personal. It was they had reached a point where they no longer needed me. And that was what was inspiring. They were like back in Alaska, we have these dandelion things. They're not native there. Some idiot imported them. But when they reach a point, they blow in the wind and spread their seed like a porn star. And
I will never look at dandelions the same ever again.
And it was very inspiring to me. My inspiration actually came to people who were technically, ranked below me in terms of the stratification of our system. Someone I was their boss. And they finally made it and said, I'm ready to go out on my own. That was inspiring. Because it's one thing to teach someone something. It's another thing when they become better than you. And when that person left and the new person came, which both of them are standing right over there right now.
Nice.
Which are really hilarious. I got a COVID denier and a lesbian, which normally would never hang out with each other. And, which is the funniest combination ever. It's like Tucker Carlson hanging out with Rachel Maddow. And but not in the weird right-wing way, just in the what the fuck way. And no, but it was that, I had to say that. For me, that was the most inspiring, and that's what's inspiring about what we're doing here in Atlanta, is when you're gonna teach people. When you talk about your failures, which aren't failures, they're just steps on the Pilgrim's Progress. Your movie that no one ever saw, but they will. It may not have realized the way we envisioned it. Maybe there weren't fucking 3 billion people in 3,500 theaters and it made 150 million. Roland Emmerich gives you a hand job. But you inspired the right people. And those 2 fuckers over there inspired me. And so for me, I have a website, but I'm running a VFX company. The last thing I want is independent filmmakers calling me. And I hope you.
What's your website? Come on.
OnlyFans.melee. And no, but I just wanted to say that to me that was the most inspiring, to bring it back to Atlanta as a community, was when me and Josh moved out here years ago, and he finally said, fuck you, I'm going to Arizona to make movies. I said, all right. Which he just got 2nd place in a big film festival in this weird place called Phoenix. And no, but it was inspiring. Because at the same time I met her we were on this movie for Paramount 6 months ago, and she was in set deck. And I was like, man, you're working your ass off over here. And set deck's quite frankly for retarded people. Like, we should come into visual effects. And wow. You probably got a lot of CTE from the head hits. And now I have this incredible woman, Nina, and it's inspiring. That's what this is a big ecosystem. Right. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about your films, because it's not about the failures, it's about the successes. Mm-hmm. And that's what's inspiring about what everyone's saying here tonight, is this isn't a batting average. This isn't, it's not Babe Ruth, ain't Dave Justice. It's not about how many times you struck out, it's about how many home runs you hit. And that's what everyone's doing here and inspiring each other. And that's what I wanted to say, which I'll say for the rest of my life. Thank you, Josh, for inspiring me to tell me to fuck off and quitting. Because replacing you is taking 5 people. But then, that's what Atlanta is. And that's what we're all talking about here, which is how to, as a community, create a sustainable ecosystem so that we no longer need Los Angeles. And we're no longer a colony of a mothership.
Amen. Amen. May the choir say hallelujah. Amen. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our very first ever Georgia Hollywood Review Roundtable. Thank you for being a beautiful audience. We do hope that you pull something from this. Thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you very much. And that is a wrap on the very first episode. Thank you very much.